Well, good morning, everyone. Last night we had our second group of winners. Zoe Vincent, scholarship winner, and Jonathan Carlisle. Jonathan is from Toledo, and Zoe is from Mayfield Village. So we had the opportunity last night to meet Zoe's mom, and then also had the opportunity to FaceTime Zoe and her dad, and it was a lot of fun. I think we'll start with Zoe. Zoe, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
So you and your dad and your siblings are out of town at getting ready for your aunt's wedding, I believe. So that's a happy occasion. So tell everybody kind of how you found out about this last night. I think I called your dad about 7:15, something like that. And why don't you kind of tell us what you heard and what you thought then?
Yeah, so you made a call to my dad last night at around 7:15, and it was just kind of like weird because he just kept saying your name, and I was like, what's happening? And he said that like I had won the scholarship for the vaccine that we entered, like basically while just sitting there waiting for my second dose. And it was just like really wild because it like came out of nowhere. We weren't really expecting it at all. And it was just like this super like big surprise, and we were all so excited about it.
Well, that's great. I talked with you a little bit, and to your mom. Fran and I had the chance to meet your mom in the pouring rain last night. So it was great seeing her. She came home a little bit after that I had talked with your dad and talked with you. You've been thinking about college. You're a rising senior, so you'll be in your last year of high school. What have you been thinking about in regard to college?
I've had a lot of like thought put into like my career and everything, and like based on that where I want to go. And I'm definitely interested in medicine. So like I've been looking at like a lot of colleges with good like pre-med or bio programs and that kind of thing that I'm really looking into. Like colleges like Case Western and Ohio State have definitely like been on my radar for that. But I'm definitely looking into other colleges as well.
Well, the college search process is always fun, kind of interesting. So you're right in the middle of that. So this is this is great. So Zoe, we'll come back to you. Anything else you want to tell us, and then I'm sure some of the media may have some questions later on.
No, I think that pretty much.
All right. All right. Zoe, thank you. Congratulations. And we'll go now to Jonathan. Jonathan, how are you doing?
Good. Very good. Excited.
Well, so I called you last night, and this was a little bit after 7, I think. And your call went to voicemail. And so when you picked up that voicemail, what did you think?
I just gotten done with a very, very long shift delivering packages for Amazon, and I was getting ready to park my van for the day, and I looked down at my phone and I saw your name on my phone, and I knew I had a feeling what was up, and I listened to voicemail, and I pretty much almost lost it inside the van.
Well, you called me shortly after I left that message, and
yes.
So you thought maybe you might have won. Is that what you thought? Maybe.
I've been paying attention, and I was fairly certain I won, but I wanted to hear your voice, and so I could just be certain that this was really happening. And when I talked to you, I'm sure you could tell that I was just overcome, and I knew what was happening. It was I can't explain it. There's nothing like that's ever happened to me.
Well, Jonathan, you told me you moved to Ohio a few years ago, right? What year did you come to Ohio?
2013.
2013. And what are your thoughts about what you're going to do with the money? You haven't had much time to think about it, but any thoughts?
No. Yeah. I can tell you, I did not sleep very much last night. I was dreaming a lot about the future. I know that me and my family would, we want to find our permanent home, hopefully sometime in the near future. And beyond that, I just want to have someone help me make this last. This is a good foundation for my family. It's unbelievable.
So I think you all have you've got a fairly new baby, right? Fairly young baby.
Yes, sir. He's 5 months old today. He's a handful. But yes, and this is like I said, this is so welcome. I can't explain how much pressure this is going to take off to help raise him right.
Well, that is great. I think you told us you got the shot maybe a couple of days after we announced the Vax-a-Million. Kind of what was going through your mind when you decided to get the shot then?
Yeah. My girlfriend had already gotten her first dose, and I was waiting. I was putting it off a lot because I was just working all the time, and I just kept putting it off. But I knew I needed to get it, and I wanted to get it. And when y'all announced the Vax-a-Million, as soon as I heard that, I was like, yes, I need to go do this now. And I think it was 2 days later, I went to the Lucas County Rec Center and got the Johnson & Johnson shot.
Well, that's great. Well, great talking with you. Hang on there, because in a few minutes we're going to open it up for the news media, and I'm sure will have some questions for you and Zoe both. So again, good talking with you, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Let me talk for a moment kind of where we are in regard to the virus and where we are in regard to vaccinations. Kind of the way I would describe this today is that we have taken the lead. We're ahead of this virus at this point. But I always like the sports analogies, and it's like a basketball team or a football team that has a lead. You can't sit on the lead. You've got to continue to score points. You've got to continue to be on offense. You've got to continue to move forward. And so that's really, really where we are in Ohio. And the way we move forward, the way we assure that we get back to normal, is for more and more of us to get vaccinated. That's why, we did the Vax-a-Million. That's why we've got over 2,000 places in the state of Ohio where people can get vaccinated. That's why you're seeing our local health departments, pharmacies, doctors, all pushing and doing everything they can to make the vaccine available to everyone in the state of Ohio. So that's where the game is today. It has to do directly with that vaccine, and that's why we put so much emphasis on it, why we're spending a lot of energy on it, and time and resources, because that is how we make sure that we get this down. And we're seeing the results. I mean, the results have just absolutely been phenomenal. The cases have been going down. Eric, let's go to the first slide. If you look at this slide, what you'll see is our blue counties. We only have 4 left that are above the 100,000, that 100 level. And if you'll recall, we set a goal of trying to get this down to 50. Health orders, of course, came off yesterday, but it's interesting how close we are to those numbers. As of yesterday, we'll get new numbers here in a few hours, but as of yesterday, we were down to 58.3. So this has been dropping 2, 3, 4 points a day, and it's interesting. Point in time where we set a specific date the health orders was going to come off, it's going to coincide not too far from when we get below 50. At least that's what it looks like. We're at 58.3 now. As you look at these slides also, I think another very interesting point is about half the counties now are below 50. and that continues to change every day. But about half of those counties now are below 50. So we hope to see that continue to drop. And, we have always felt that there's an inverse relationship. The more vaccine, the more people get vaccinated, the lower these cases are going to come. And we didn't know exactly how fast it would work, but we know that's what would happen, and that is exactly what has been happening. Let's look at the next slide, Eric, if we could. So this is this is from yesterday. So this is not not new. We'll get new numbers later today. But since we're doing this in the morning, we were basically dealing with yesterday's numbers. But I think that if you look at these numbers, very significant. First of all, before we actually get into the different age groups, let's talk about how we look at this. So what you're seeing on the screen is 45.5% of the total population of the state of Ohio. 45.5% of the total population of Ohio today has received at least their first dose of the vaccine. The way it's normally talked about on the national news has to do with adults. And so if you look at adults, 18 and over, we are at 56, roughly 56% of that population. And you'll notice, of course, that the president has set a goal by July 4th, to be at 70% of those adults. There's another figure, though, that we look at a lot, and that is over the age of 12. And we look at that because the scientists tell us that people over 12, once you get into junior high and certainly into senior high, those individuals can spread it a lot. And so when you're really trying to get control of this, you really have to look at over the age of 12 and over. So of that population, we're at 53% of that population. So again, if you look at the total, it's everybody in Ohio, even those who are not even eligible yet, we're at 45.5%. If you look at those over the age of 18 and over, we're at 56%. And if you look at over the age of 12, we're at 53%. Now let's look at the different age groups. And what you'll see, Eric, let's go back to that previous one, please. What you're going to see here is when you look at those over the age of 65, we're around high 70s, almost 80%. Some of those are over 80%. So it means that we still have about a fifth of our most vulnerable population that is not vaccinated. We continue to work very, very hard to do that. I know health departments are literally knocking on doors. I know they're going out to people who cannot get out. And so if you have anyone in your family who is over 65, for example, who has not been vaccinated, needs help in getting that vaccine, call your local health department, call us, and we'll do everything we can to get them vaccinated, because this is the age group that is the most vulnerable. Let's look at the younger age group, however. If you look at this group here, and as we look at this group, what we see is that's naturally where we have the most room to grow. And if we're going to get to 70%, that's where the bulk of those are going to come from. I don't think anybody knows whether 70% in Ohio is a magical number. What we do and have already seen is every day when we get more people vaccinated, we're making it harder and harder for this virus to spread. And that's really where we are. So we continue to look at our older, most vulnerable, continue to make that available, continue to encourage people to get vaccinated. But when we're looking at how we get to slowing this down even more and get to the bigger numbers, it's the younger people. It's those basically under 50. That's where you're going to see, that's where we have the biggest room to grow, is probably the easiest way to explain that. Let's go, Eric, to the slide on hospitalization. You've got that up there. Again, we're down now to, this is yesterday's data. 670 of our fellow Ohioans are in the hospital. That's 670 too many, but those numbers continue basically week to week to be dropping, and that is certainly some very good news. Let me share with you also, before I go to the Lieutenant Governor and then questions, what some of the just great things that are being done by health departments, but also doctors and others who are providers out there doing some really great work to try to make sure everybody has the opportunity to get the vaccine. Stark County, their Strong, Healthy Together is what they call it. Strong, Healthy Together campaign to encourage vaccinations was created after doing informal focus groups with their staff, with COVID-19 response team, and other members of the general public. The health department partnered with the Stark Area Regional Transit Authority and with the local McDonald's restaurants to have people take the bus to get the Pfizer vaccine, and they leave with a voucher for a free McDonald's meal. So again, kind of a neat thing to do. Up in Lorain County, they partnered with a local Latino nonprofit advocacy organization. Staff went to local restaurants to schedule people for upcoming vaccine appointments, made phone calls to encourage local families to get vaccinated. Down in Hamilton County, they partnered with the Board of Elections with an ongoing vaccination clinic. And they've offered smaller clinics with local businesses. Claremont County partnered with breweries and movie theaters, or discounts were offered to those who were vaccinated. This weekend, Henry County Health Department is hosting a vaccination clinic at 4 of the county's high schools in partnership with Henry County Hospital, with Rite Aid, and with Walmart. This effort is called, quote, "Let's have a great summer," end of quote. Let's have a great summer. It offers the Pfizer vaccine to those 12 years of age and older. So we'll continue to seek out innovative ideas and encourage those ideas throughout the state of Ohio. And I just want to thank all our partners, everyone out there who's working so very, very hard to get more people vaccinations in their arms and for us to move forward as a state. Let me now go to the Lieutenant Governor, and then we'll go to questions.
Thanks, Governor, and congratulations to Jonathan and Zoe. Now, that's great. But for all of you who are not Jonathan and Zoe, we still have good news for you today. We are announcing another round of TechCred credentials that we're offering to people to help you get many of the good jobs that are out there and to earn free credentials. Oftentimes, those credentials will count as college credit. We are, Governor, hitting a milestone today. We promised at the beginning of the administration that we were going to seek to offer credentials to 10,000 Ohioans a year, free of charge, thanks to the generosity of the taxpayers of the state. And today we have crossed the milestone in these first 19 months with 23,000 credentials awarded. And this particular round, we had 310 companies. We're awarding $4.2 million to help Ohio employees earn 3,882 tech-focused credentials. And through 8 rounds of this now, we have 1,310 Ohio employers who are offering 23,000 or whose employees have access to 23,723 technology-focused credentials. This total amount is going to be over $25 million. And we're glad to announce these today. It was great that we had in this group a record number of small businesses that applied, which was 124 businesses. Almost half of the businesses that were awarded were small businesses. We've been working really hard to try to promote it to small business. I want to remind businesses that there are 6 credentials that your employees can earn in the cyberspace. We know cybersecurity is incredibly important for all employers in the state, and small employers maybe in particular don't have access to people in that area. You can upskill your employees to get those cyber credentials. We have another round of TechCred that is open right now for funding that will end on June the 30th. So employers and employees apply for this. Remember, you can find out all of this information at techcred.ohio.gov for employers who want to upskill their employees. And if you're not employed, and I looked at the Ohio Means Jobs website just yesterday, there were over 100,000 jobs on that website alone that pay $50,000 a year or more. And these credentials are the kinds of credentials you need to get many of those jobs. They're available to you free of charge. If you're not employed, you can also use the IMAP program, the individual micro credential program. You can find more information about these if you just search IMAP Ohio. You'll find all the information that you need on that. So there is no barrier for an Ohioan who wants to earn a tech credential. We have programs that will help you do that, to access one of the many great jobs that are out there today, and you can do it free of charge. And we continue to grow and expand in this area. More and more Ohioans are taking advantage of it, which means there more job security, more earning potential, and employers have the talent they need to succeed. And just wanted to share, Governor, that we hit our mark on the program, and we hope that the General Assembly will add more money, as they have so far in the budget process, so that we can expand this to even more Ohioans in the coming years. Thanks, Governor.
Well, we've had a great partnership with the General Assembly on this. It's been a very, very, very successful program. We're excited about it. So time to go to questions.
First question is from John London at WLWT in Cincinnati.
Hey, John.
Hi, Governor. There seem to be more Vax-a-Million spinoffs right now than cicadas, even free beer, from what I read, if the U.S. hits the mark. And we heard Jonathan say that he was putting this off until the announcement about Vax-a-Million. Do you have a sense of how many Jonathans are out there? How many people are getting vaccinated to have a shot at winning $1 million? And are you starting to feel like a game show host yet?
Well, yeah. When we show up at people's houses, Fran and I do it about 7:15. Yeah, it's kind of a strange feeling. Knock on the door, or make a phone call. John, I think it's a good point. One of our goals was really to speed people up, and a lot of people may get it, will get it at some point. Jonathan said that he was going to get it at some point, but it sounds like from what he said today and what he told us yesterday, that sped up his time in doing it. And we know that's just very, very, very important. The thing that Fran and I found when we went out, and we've been to over 40 different sites where people were getting shots, and we just tried to listen to people and hear what they were saying. And what some of them were saying is that the reason they got it that day, it was a number of things, but it was clear that there were some people who, probably were going to get a shot, but they weren't in a big rush. Maybe they had a lot of work going on. As Jonathan said, maybe there's a million other things going on in their life, and so they just hadn't got to it yet. And so I think it's been very successful, particularly in regard to that. I still believe that there are people out there, and we're looking at talking with a couple of Ohio companies about maybe a couple other offers to kind of make this a little more enticing. But we don't have anything to announce today on that. But it's still, I think there's still people out there, and we would just again ask anyone who's thinking about getting the shot, go ahead and get your shot, and then sign up. We've got a lot more drawings coming. We got 3 more weeks. You have the opportunity to win $1 million. You have the opportunity to win a scholarship. So it's exciting.
Next question is from Jesse Ballmert at the Cincinnati Enquirer.
Hi, congratulations both Jonathan and Zoe. My question is for Zoe, actually. What sparked your interest in medicine as a possible career, and I guess how has this past year of COVID-19 affected that interest?
So I've sort of been interested in medicine and science for as long as I can remember. And I just recently completed my first year in our MedTech program at school. And it's just been a thing that I've wanted to do for like such a long time, and I'm so happy to have an opportunity like MedTech to like do it in real time in real life. And I guess in the past year, I would definitely say like COVID has somewhat affected my ability to actually like do the program because of like, you know, doing school online via Zoom and having assignments online instead of in school and things like that. But I'm just excited to be out of it, sort of, and to be able to actually like do my interests in college later on and actually be a doctor and go to med school and everything in the future, especially with this 4-year scholarship. I'm excited to actually be able to put my focus on paying for med school instead of my first 4 years. So I'm super excited about this.
Next question is from Dan Ohio in Cleveland.
Congratulations, Jonathan, and congratulations, Zoe. We love having winners from Northeast Ohio. That means we're 2 weeks in a row that we've had a Vax-a-Million winner. Governor, I want to talk about the numbers, and we seem to deal a lot with bumps in this last year, and there was a sizable bump in the amount of people who got vaccinated after the announcement of Vax-a-Million. In that same chart that you bring up, it's clearly defined as a 2-week bump, but even that 2-week bump has now fallen off. Just 11,000 vaccinated yesterday, and those were the levels that we were seeing before the $1 million. Are you worried that this bump is over? Even though, yes, 11,000 is a good number, it will not get us from 56% to 70%.
Well, great question. I think that, you know, we've succeeded and got a lot of people vaccinated quicker than they would have. Many people who've been vaccinated maybe weren't going to get it at all. So what we're going to continue to do is provide information. As you know, the vaccines, as we get them, as they come in, they're a day late, 2 days, 3 days, 4. It takes, the further out you get from those days, the more they fill in. And that's kind of a concept that it took me a while to understand, because I'm looking at dailies, and then you look at a daily and whatever it is, until you break it down, some of them are yesterday, some of them are the day before, some of the day before that. So what we're looking at, we now have 2 weeks that are pretty complete. We're not getting much in for those 2 weeks, and starting at where the base was, and then week 1, week 2. As you point out, both of those weeks are up. Our first concern, candidly, was to stop the bleeding, and by that I mean stop it from going down. I mean, we were seeing it go down, and so trying to right that ship and get it moving. So righting the ship in and of itself was, I think, an accomplishment. We would normally expect around any holiday a very significant drop-off. And that's not just on the holiday. It's usually a couple of days before and a couple of days after the holiday. So it's going to be a few more days until we see, really what week 3 looks like and how that week is filling out. And, clearly it's not going up as fast as it was. Are we leveled off, or where are we? We're not going to know for a few days. But, I think it's already been very, very successful. We're very happy with where it is. As I said before, we saw increases that were beyond any kind of my wildest dreams, what we would be able to see. But we're going to continue to look at this and look, as I said a moment ago to John, we're talking with a couple companies and other ways, maybe to Ohio companies to increase, sweeten this a little bit and continue to get people excited. But we're going to continue to go on and do everything we can to make it available to people. And, we're happy with where we are, but we know we have a ways to go. I mean, that's the nature of this. And, we're not stopping, and as I said early on, we're ahead of this virus now. Finally, we're ahead of it. We got the tools to continue to knock it into the ground, But like a football team or like a basketball team, we cannot sit on a lead. That lead will go away. We have to continue to work every single day to get more people vaccinated. That's what we're doing.
Next question is from Noah Blundo at Hannah News Service.
Good morning, Governor.
Morning.
You have sort of indicated that maybe you have more to say in the future on additional incentives to drive vaccination. And I'm wondering, given the sentiments expressed by a lot of members of the General Assembly about your Vax-a-Million, a lot of them weren't happy. Has that affected funding sources and ideas of what you will offer in the future? Or you think it's likely that you would use the same funding source again?
Look, I don't think we know at this point. And, you know, I mentioned this morning, we're talking to a couple companies that we're involved with. Yesterday, I was on the phone, and, you know, we hope to be able to give you some information about that in the future, something that they might offer, Ohio product that might be offered. So kind of excited about that. But for 15 months, we've had to play this game day to day. And so this is no different as we come out of this. As Ohio moves forward, we still have to finish the game. And finishing the game means getting more and more people vaccinated. So we're going to continue to examine that and look at that and see, you know, what we need to do to get that done. It is, if you look at our ability to save lives, if you look at our ability to keep people out of the hospital, if you look at our ability for the economy to move forward and people get back to normal, there is no substitute for the vaccine. It is the most important thing. And the easiest way to explain that is to look at how people feel when they've been vaccinated. And as I said, Fran, I've been over 40 sites, and it's a feeling of, those are happy places. It is a feeling of I'm getting my life back, and we just want that for more Ohioans. And you know, we're moving there, but we're not there yet.
Next question is from Jim Oddie at WHIO in Dayton.
Hey, Jim.
Hey, good morning, Governor. A clarification, not a question for Zoe. The clarification, do you happen to know, Governor, what the cash value of the college scholarship is as you deliver that to Zoe and to the previous winner? And then, Zoe, your reaction to that. This is a lot of money.
Yeah, let me start, Zoe. I'll go first, and I can't answer it, but we can get you that today. Jim, it's when we designed this, I said, let's peg it to the cost of the most expensive state university, and let's include tuition, room, and board for 4 years, as well as books. And so taking that figure, that's the amount that will be put into the 529. And, you know, in Zoe's case, you know, that will be available to her very quickly. She starts college next year. So, Zoe?
Yeah, my initial reaction to this was just like, I can finally be able to like focus on my later education in med school, hopefully, rather than have to worry about taking out student loans later on. And it was just like, I felt like a weight off my shoulders, sort of, because I could like really see my career ahead of me instead of seeing a time of me paying off my debt because of medical school and because of my later education. And it was just like kind of like a big relief in that sense.
Okay, thanks.
Next question is from Laura Hancock at cleveland.com.
Hi, I'm Zoe and Jonathan. Congratulations to the both of you. I just had a clarification question for Jonathan first, and then I have a question for the governor. Jonathan, you said that you had a 5-month-old, I think, son, and I was wondering if that was your whole family, your girlfriend, your son, and you, or are there other children, just for clarification? And then my question for the governor is, with the Senate budget that came out, there was a higher proposed tax cut and also a lot of changes to the way that we would be funding public ed. And I was just wondering if you, when you've looked through that, I know you probably haven't looked at all of it, but what struck you about it, or what your thoughts were.
Yes, we have 2 other boys. She has 2 boys that live with us most of the time from a previous relationship. And this is, like I said, this is going to help tremendously with everything. Yes.
So, Laura, let me try to answer the question. We're happy with what we've seen come out of the House and the Senate. Never get everything you want, but I think they're 2 good documents to move forward on, and programs that are very important to us have been preserved in there. As far as in regard to the different approaches that each is taking in regard to education, we're still looking at that.
Next question is from Jim Province at the Toledo Blade.
Hey, Jim.
Hi, congratulations again to Jonathan and to Zoe. And my question is for both of them. Have either of you known somebody personally who has come down with COVID? And if so, did that play a role in your decision to be vaccinated?
Jonathan, you want to go first?
Yes, sir. Yes, my sister and her husband, both who were living in California at the time, came down with COVID, as well as his father, who passed from COVID. And she was on me a lot to go and get the vaccination, and that played a very significant role in getting it.
Zoe?
Actually, I believe in, I forget what time it was, but it was like a while ago. I actually had it, and it was just like, I feel like it was honestly the most sick I've ever been, but I obviously came out of it, and I do think that it played like a significant role in my decision to get the vaccination, because like it was like, if I can somehow like guarantee that I'll never feel this way again, or like my family won't have to feel this way again, like I felt like I would definitely take it, and so I did get the vaccine.
Zoe, were you confirmed as having COVID?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next question is from Aaliyah Williamson at WDTN in Dayton.
Well, good morning. Congrats to Jonathan and Zoe. My question is for the governor. Governor DeWine, as outside opens up and more people are getting vaccinated, we're unfortunately seeing some instances in the media and the news of bad behavior, a lot of fighting and, unruly behavior, including gun violence, similar to the tragedy yesterday in Springfield. So wondering if you have an update on the Springfield situation and or a comment to Ohioans about this newfound freedom.
Well, no, I don't. We are seeing some examples that, we see on TV, the fights on airplanes and things like that. Someone more learned than I am would have to explain, kind of human behavior. But, certainly, people have been cooped up for 15 months, and, it has altered what they've done. It's altered who they've been in contact with. People have been isolated more. So I'm sure there's a lot of consequences that will naturally flow from that psychologists could explain, or even a sociologist could explain. So I don't know that I have any particular comment about it. What we saw, you mentioned Springfield, we just are seeing and have been seeing, and I've highlighted on my press conferences many times, violence generally in our cities. And many times these are individuals who are repeat violent offenders. They're people who, the lawyers, the terminology is, they're under disability, which simply means not disability that we normally think, but under disability that they cannot have a gun. And, a bill that we have presented to the General Assembly would absolutely target those individuals. It's tragic when you see anyone killed in these fights or anyone injured. I think it takes on a particular significance when you see innocent victims, and we do see that many times, that they're innocent victims, sometimes children who get shot, and because of these individuals. So this is really about criminals. It's about repeat criminals. It's about getting those individuals and, frankly, removing them from society. And so what our bill does is it would give the police more ability, it will give the prosecutors more ability, and ultimately it gives the judge, in his or her discretion, the opportunity to determine what that sentence might be. And so it increases the potential sentence, doesn't tell the judge he has to do it or she has to do it, but gives them that option based on the circumstances. So that's something that, I hope the General Assembly will look at and we'll be able to get passed. And it won't eliminate all the shooting and all the violence, but when you talk to chiefs of police, what they tell you is that there's generally a handful of people, relatively small number of the criminal element, that does the violence. They're the ones that commit the violence. Small number of people, and targeting them is something that we just need to do if we're going to preserve order and safety, and people can be able to live in their homes and be safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next question is from Andy Chow at Ohio Public Radio and Television.
Andy.
Hi, Governor. Congratulations to the winners. My question is also for the governor. When we're talking about trying to increase the vaccination rate for people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, these are people who are usually at a lower risk of getting a bad case of COVID. At this point in the process, if they haven't gotten vaccinated, they might be thinking, why should I? It's not a big threat to me. How do you change their minds? How do you convince them why should they get vaccinated?
Well, Andy, I think about that every day. And so we continue to work on that. Dr. Vanderhoff is on here, and he might comment a little bit about spread among this group of people, maybe also comment about risk that is there. It certainly is less of a risk, but there is still a risk for people. And Doctor, I don't know if you have any comments about Andy's question.
Yes, thank you, Governor. You're absolutely right. COVID remains a very real danger to every unvaccinated Ohioan, regardless of age. From the statistics you shared just a little bit ago, it's important for us to remember that we've had more than 1 million cases, almost 60,000 hospitalizations, and almost 20,000 deaths. Plus, as we think about the younger group, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics, COVID has infected not only millions of children and put thousands into hospitals. COVID is now the number one, or not number one, but one of the top 10 causes of death for children in the United States, which is really staggering. I think we often think of COVID as relatively benign for children, but we now rank it among the top 10 causes of pediatric death. And we know, and you've said this repeatedly here this morning and in other press conferences, look, vaccination is our best protection against COVID. And so, if we're able, we really owe it not just to ourselves, and we do owe it to ourselves, but to all those we care about, including those who are not fortunate enough to be able to be vaccinated, for us to protect them by getting vaccinated. Because think about it, we have, all the children less than 12 who still remain vulnerable to this virus. We can protect them by getting vaccinated. So I think that while it is true that younger Ohioans may not have the level of risk that older Ohioans have, they're not out of the woods. And bad things can happen to people of any age due to COVID.
Dr. Vanderhoff, that is a shocking statistic. we usually look at things in life relative to other things. And so when people look at risk, certainly the older you are, the higher the risk. We based, when we didn't have enough vaccine, we based our who got it based upon that. But your statement that now among children, in the top 10 list of causes of death is COVID is really, I think, a sobering thought. And I would just say that as people are making their own decisions, people having kids in daycare, or kids will be in school, they might be in summer school, they may be all kinds of things. But when people are back inside, there is still is a very significant risk of spread. So decisions about whether they wear a mask, decisions about how often they wash their hands, decisions about how careful they are. We do have a group of people who cannot be vaccinated yet, and can't get it. Under 12 cannot get it, so cannot be vaccinated. So again, as I think we all go about our individual lives, knowing that there is a group out there that it's not a question that they refused to get vaccinated or didn't want to get vaccinated or made their own choice. They have not had the opportunity to make that choice, nor have their parents. So it is a group of people that I think we should certainly worry about and respect.
Governor, next question is the last question for today. It belongs to Luis Gill of Ohio Latino TV.
Hello, Governor. Thank you for having this.
Thank you.
Congratulations to Jonathan and Zoe. My question is to them. Have you had a chance to talk to friends or family members that they had decided, well, now since you're a winner and I'm going to get vaccinated, I'm going to try to get this done now because I have a friend that won.
Jonathan, in the short time that you've been digesting this, have you talked to any family members that have decided they wanted to get vaccinated, or any other friends or anybody else?
I've talked to them, but I haven't heard much from anyone else. I think most of everything I've had is congratulatory. Beyond that, I'm hoping they take my advice and get vaccinated. But yes, that's about all I've heard so far.
Zoe?
My experience has kind of been similar to Jonathan's. Like, it's mostly been like, congratulations, like, proud of you. But yeah, I haven't really had anyone like say they're going to get vaccinated as a result of this. A lot of my family just like wants to in general. But.
Okay. Well, that was the last question. Zoe, thank you very much for being on. And Jonathan, thank you for being on. We appreciate it very, very much. We hope you both have a good day and everyone else has a good day. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.